Hey everybody, Paul Esden Jr., Boy Green here. We're here to continue our series, breaking down every position on the New York Jets roster, and we give you all the deets. Who's under contract for next year, who are pending free agents, who's moving on, who's going where, and at the end of every show, we make a pitch on who the Jets should bring in for the position in question. So without further ado, let's get this party started, baby. Zoinks! But it is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh Darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh Darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been on.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Everybody, Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. This is Boy Green Meets Wudi, and the James Wudi is joining us here as we do every Tuesday and Thursday live at 3 o'clock. Streaming live, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. Like the video, hit subscribe. Twitter, @BoyGreen25, and right there, at the James Wudi. Instagram live. What's poppin'? Good afternoon, Wudi.
It is a good afternoon indeed, everybody. It's time for Boy Green Meets Wudi. I'm super excited about this episode. You know, we are talking about running backs. We will be running our mouths about these running backs. What's going on? Who's here? Who do we want to come through? And, you know, I got some work to do. Because it is a competition. It's a competition going down these positions. And you know what? Your boy is started out 0-1. And hey, let me be a source of inspiration for everybody out there listening, everybody out there watching, that it's not how you start, it is how you finish.
Interesting. That's a point of reference. Hey, so yeah, I you know, it's very early on in our this brand new show that we're doing, again, afternoons, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 o'clock. But I want to advocate for a name change, potentially. And, you know, as a guy who has Boy Green on the front, you know, normally I wouldn't want to move my name. You know, I'm such a big deal and whatnot. But I want to shift it to this. Instead of Boy Green meets Wudi, what about Wudi meets L? For loser, baby, because we did our first one on Tuesday. Again, we're going to break down every position on the Jets roster, and then at the end of every show, we will make a pitch on what free agents the Jets should add to the room. So obviously, quarterback was on Tuesday, so we advocated for which backup quarterback, you know, that the Jets should sign. And let's put it up on the big screen so you guys can see the final tally here for the old Polsky. And I picked Jacoby Brissett. You picked Sam Darnold. And we had over 1,100 votes. And 70.8% of the fans said Jacoby Brissett. And get the binoculars out. A measly 29.2% said Sam Darnold. So again, Wudi meets L, because I imagine that is something you're going to be catching throughout this entire series. Wudi, what do you think about the name change? Possible?
Well, I mean, like I said, it's about how you. It's not about how you start. It's about how you finish. That's week one. There's a lot of positions that make up a football team. So anybody who's looking at this scoreboard know that this is not a sprint. This is a marathon. And Wudi, don't stop. Ooh, we keep going. We keep going, baby. So it's about to be a good time going through it. Each position down the line for the next few weeks. It's going to be a good time. And I'm telling you right now, the scoreboard will be scoring.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. I know you say there's a lot of positions on a football team, but none more important than the quarterback position. It's a quarterback-driven league, and I won that one, so that one counts for at least a couple, probably. But we'll wait to see how.
I would imagine, you know, they all just count for one. They all just count for one.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. Yeah,
go
ahead.
One of the quarterbacks that were in that poll has a chance to be the Super Bowl MVP this season. Just letting you know.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point to point out. But let's get into it for running backs here, and it's this: So obviously, this is going to vary by positional group. For instance, right, like the quarterback episode on Tuesday, yeah, we have Aaron Rodgers. He's the starter. So our pitch is for the backup quarterback. In this case, very clear after this season, Breece Hall is RB1. He is the guy. But the question is, who is RB2? So let's get into that right now. Now, according to Spot Track, which we're using, the Jets, technically speaking, have several running backs on the roster for this team. But, I don't count the future reserve contracts. So sorry, Jacques Patrick. You don't count on this list for me. So the only two truly under contract, putting those guys aside, are Breece Hall, RB1, and then Israel Abani Kanda. Now, I'm going to be very blunt here. I like Izzy. I have him on my Madden Jets roster. Phenomenal, little burst, little pop, little things of that nature. But I think the Jets would be wild, quite frankly, to rely on Izzy as the pure, unquestioned RB2 heading into next year. I think he's a fine RB3. Change of pace. Hopefully he gets better at some of the things the coaches pointed out, like pass blocking, and again, just familiarity with the offense as a whole. Hopefully he checks off all those boxes. But to me, I think the question for today's show, as it highlights a little bit behind us, but it's the full graphic as the YouTube thumbnail, which veteran running back will join Breece Hall in the Jets backfield in 2024 as the backup, like an RB2, a yin to the yang, a salt to the pepper? I think that's the big question for the New York Jets. And the good news is because of the contractual situation, Izzy is making less than $1 million next year against the cap. Breece Hall counts $1.5 million in base salary against the cap. So in theory, if we're spreading, cap savings and things, the Jets have a little bit of money to spend. Now, hopefully it's not $7 million on the Dalvin Cook situation. Now, technically speaking, he would be among the pending free agents here for the Jets, but they mutually parted ways. And so he won't be here. I guess before I go any further, because again, you know what they say about assuming. We have someone in our chat, Jets News on the Instagram, great account. Rory, won't Izzy be RB2? I'm assuming he won't be. I'm assuming I'm putting him at RB3. Let me throw it to you, Woody, to make sure I don't make any false assumptions here. Is there any chance Izzy is RB2 in your mind?
I got nothing but love for Izzy Abani Kanda, Wakanda. Abani Kanda forever. Yes, absolutely. But I do think RB3 is probably the best place for him right now. I mean, this is somebody who started the year as RB4, right?
Yeah.
They had a chance to elevate him. And Nathaniel Hackett, talking about pass blocking, you mentioned that, Boy Green. So it doesn't look like, even if we feel like he's ready, it seems clear to me that the coaching staff does not feel like he's ready. So I would imagine that they bring someone in to be RB2.
Okay, just wanted to clarify because again, and I love the comments, guys. Keep them coming. Again, we're streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and the James Wudi on Instagram. So keep the comments coming in, no matter where you guys are watching. And I feel free, and we can try to work some of those into the show as they decide to naturally fit in here. So, like I said, there is Breece Hall and there's Izzy, and then outside of reserve future contracts, no other running backs on the roster. And I will say this because this is notable today, with today being the running back episode. Dalvin Cook was officially signed to the Baltimore Ravens 53-man roster today, and a corresponding move, they dumped Melvin Gordon on the streets. He'll be begging for loose change, and Dalvin Cook is expected to be involved in the game plan in some way and make his playoff debut for the Baltimore Ravens. I want to put this out to the universe right now. Okay, Dalvin Cook, truthers unite, baby. We all remember the Dalvin Cook chants at Jets Trinket, Dalvin Cook. And then I tweeted it out today, and then that one guy in the back, sign his contract. It was just nice. There was a vibe there. And it didn't work, obviously. It flopped. It failed. But it failed because I think Breece Hall came back faster from a torn ACL than any of us could have imagined. He had the second most yards of any AFC player not named Tyreek Hill. That's of any position. Spectacular. So shout out to Breece Hall for that. I think I'm going to mess up the number now, but I'm pretty sure he's second all time in Jets receptions in a single season, only behind Richie Anderson, who had 88. Was a running back fullback back in the day. So, when you add in some of those, I think Breece Hall accelerated way faster than anyone could have possibly imagined in terms of his recovery. And the Jets were unaware. It was an uncertainty. How quick is Breece Hall going to come back for this? So he grabbed Dalvin Cook for the luxury. It never worked out. The numbers are terrible and everything else. But I think he's going to show a lot of Jets people and NFL fans. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. But I think with the Baltimore Ravens, he's going to show some pop. He's going to like break off like a 45-yarder or something. And then there it is. That's what Roy just said. Watch Dalvin go for a 50 burger in the Ravens player. I'm telling you guys, he's going to have like some run and Jet fans will be like, what the hell? And again, I could be wrong. Remember Le'Veon Bell, right? He came in here. We said, oh, he's really good. It's the coaching staff holding him back. Coaching staff holding him back. And then he went to other places like the Chiefs. So like, oh, now he's going to show it. And he didn't. He sucked in other places. So maybe that's the same thing with Dalvin. But I'm putting some shekels down saying, hey, Dalvin Cook's going to show some chutzpah, and all of us are going to be like, damn. So it was Nathaniel Hackett, or damn, it was Breece Hall who just miraculously recovered faster than that. So I just want to put that into the universe, Woody. You jumping on the train? Toot?
I mean, Dalvin, he actually did look pretty decent his last few games. He actually had better burst. I think, the first couple of weeks, he was, slow, and that's what the coaching staff said. That's what he said was, hey, I just came into this. But he actually did look a little bit more confident as time went on. Unfortunately, he could not hold on to the ball. So that is why he still found himself, kind of on the outside looking in. So as long as he can hold on to that football, which was something he did struggle with in Minnesota as well. But, not too many people are worried about that when you're getting 1,400 rushing yards. So, if he can just hold on to that football, yeah, I think you would see some stuff. And I will say, let me just say that this time last year, Breece Hall was he was running. So I'm actually kind of surprised. I feel like it's almost Nathaniel Hackett level awareness, which is almost non-existent, to say that they were surprised that Breece Hall, because I've never been inside the building at one Jets drive, but I could assume, based on what I was seeing in January, that the boy would be perfectly healthy, like far before week one. Like that's just, I'm not a doctor, right? There's no degree over there. There's nothing.
No,
it just seemed clear to me. So for them to be so flabbergasted that he was healthy, ready to go, and of course Hackett not knowing his capabilities, they really dropped the ball. They robbed him of a 1,000-yard season. Because they can't do math. So they did a lot where it's just confusing. It's confusing with, the lack of awareness regarding Breece.
Yeah, I can tell you, I have been in that building. I was in that building actually last offseason for the One Jets Drive, Jets Twitter Diehards documentary. It was very nice to go in there. But the thing I don't think I will ever recover from, it's not the math nerd on the sideline who was, who's that Dwayne Wade, who has the one gif where he's like, he's like counting the numbers in his head or anything. It's not that. It's not even the math guy. It's Nathaniel Hackett went, pretty surprised. Pass catching, not too shabby from old Breece. And I'm like, in week 15, I'm like, I'm sorry. So that one will be impossible to recover from, but that's neither here nor there. I think the good news is that we're having this conversation as opposed to, hey, who do we need to replace Breece Hall with as RB1? That's not the headline of this video. It's very emphatic. We know that he's the guy. So that part is very promising to me. So without further ado, so we gave you the state of the address. All those guys are under contract. The only one who would have been a pending free agent would be Dalvin, but he's moved on, so he does not count on the Jets list anymore. Here are the top free agent RB2 options for the Jets or anyone. Now, I want to clarify, as you're going through this list, there's a bunch of names here. Cordero Patterson, Gus Edwards, Zeke, Devin Singletary, DeAndre Swift, Kareem Hunt, AJ Dillon, Latavius Murray, Zach Moss, Derek McKinnon. There is a lot of them out there. And I also want to make it clear, Paul, people may be saying, where's Derrick Henry? Where's Josh Jacobs? Again, to me, I'm trying to make these realistic options. Derrick Henry just said he wants to go to a Super Bowl contender, which I believe the Jets are going to be, but I don't think that's a Breece Hall thing. I don't think that's where they're going. Josh Jacobs just led the league in rushing the other year. I think he's going to get a different job. Tony Pollard. Like some of these guys, maybe Tony Pollard is more realistic, but still Saquon Barkley, Austin Eckler, some of these guys, I don't think the Jets are going to go that high to the market. I think they tried it with the Dalvin Cook thing. I think they want a lesser RB2 in whatever we can debate and discuss what the capability or versatility of who that guy is and how they pair with the talent. Now, I will say, okay, so there's only so many names I could fit on this list without being able to see our handsome faces. I'm sure some people would prefer me put more names so they can't see any of our faces. That's neither here nor there. I won't agree or disagree. But I will tell you one name I didn't put on here that I just saw in the comments is this NY Jets report on Instagram threw out this possibility. Would love to see us take a chance on J.K. Dobbins coming back from his Achilles. He rehab with Rodgers. after I had his comment, you guys will see the running back names again on the list. And I just want to say this. That is a great suggestion that I did not put on this list. J.K. Dobbins is 100% a free agent to be on unrestricted free agency. So he is among the group. That's why I said there's a ton of names that are out there in the universe. That would totally make sense. Aaron Rodgers hung out with him and said really great things on Pat McAfee with him. So I didn't include him on the list, but he's a great name of someone of that nature. So I want to give a shout out to NY Jets Report on Instagram for that, and proper shout out, a good follow on Instagram as well. It's the James Wudi, then maybe NY Jets Report on Instagram. Again, the James Wudi, and then NY Jets Report on Instagram.
I'm a big NY Jets Report fan. I definitely, I think he'll level up. I'm trying to be NY Jets Report when I grow up.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of different variety of names here. And I will, before we get into our pitches, Wudi, I actually do want to highlight something because I called you a blubbering idiot last week. I'm not sure if that was the exact verbatim terminology used, but I was very upset on the show that one of the names you wouldn't really let us have for consideration was Gardner Minshew, because he may be competing for a job. By the way, Pittsburgh just announced today they will be bringing in veteran competition for old Kenny Pickett. There's that Gardner Minshew, and then I look like an idiot. That's neither here nor there. The point is that I made fun of you because that's a name that could have been very much in consideration for a lot of people on our poll of the day that we put in, but we didn't put it in because you don't believe it's quote unquote realistic to come in as a obvious QB2. So I have a name on this list, and we were talking about it over text in some of the pre-production stuff before the show. One name I love, and I will be honest, it's not my guy, and I know it's not yours, DeAndre Swift. I love Swift. Philadelphia Eagles had 1,000 yards rushing this year. Showed a lot of pop. He was supposed to be an RB1 in Detroit when they took him so high in the second round, and then they worked other guys in, and there's Jamal Williams there when they had him, and then they ended up trading him for a bag of beans to the Eagles, and then with the Eagles there was a lot of guys with Kenneth Gainwell and Rashad Penny and all these guys, and he kind of emerged from the pack. So in my head, when I put this list together, and again, DeAndre Swift is one of the, you can't see it on our face, but it's a YouTube thumbnail. DeAndre Swift is one of the pictures I kind of highlighted as a potential option. These options, he made the list. I don't know if it's realistic because I think he's going to try to go somewhere to be the RB1, and he's coming off a really good year, but he's struggled to stay healthy. So I didn't put him on my list, even though I would love to, because I think he's talented. I think he'd be a great compliment to Breece, but I think he's going to be shooting for RB1. So after having that Gardner Minshew conversation, are you with me on that, or are you more so on the other side?
Well, Boy Green, I'm a little bit nicer than you. I'm a pretty nice guy, professor of Wudiology, so I won't call you any names. I do think Swift, and I guess I'm on the same side of the fence for both players. I think they are both dogs who want to be the top dog. So I do think that Swift is not going to want to come in and be, some kid's backup. I actually think that is more likely to happen with some of the names that we excluded, like Derek. I think Derrick Henry, 30-year-old Derrick Henry, Super Bowl contender, so he still has some juice, but also kind of have the, that is almost identical to kind of the Dalvin Cook situation. I think that is more likely than 25-year-old DeAndre Swift, who's looking to get a bag. That's something we're going to talk about in a little bit, but he's, 25-year-old looking for that second contract. I think it's way less likely that he is going to take that secondary role than a 30-year-old guy who's already, done a lot in this league and is now just looking for the hardware.
King me, baby. King me. If we get Derrick Henry, I'm buying that jersey immediately. Let's go. That's 100% happening. So there you go. So again, I believe Breece Hall is RB1 in this team. Izzy could be your RB3. The important piece of the puzzle here is a solid RB2. It's some level of insurance, sure, if Breece Hall gets hurt, of course, that's in there, but also a guy that will be involved. I don't think it's a 50-50 split. I don't know exactly the math on it, to be honest. We'll see kind of who the guy is. I think that could contribute, but I think they really do need a solid guy. This is an underrated need for the Jets. It's not among the top needs for the New York Jets by any means, but I think it's certainly on the list this offseason, and I don't think it's going to cost you a grand deal. I don't think it's going to be veteran minimum, although as we talked about with their salary cap situation from this position specifically, they do have wiggle room because they're investing so little. Again, Izzy is less than $1 million on the cap. Breece Hall is about $1.5 million. So it's not like they're investing crazy amounts in this position, which should give them a little flexibility if they do want to go. What if about half the Dalvin Cook thing? What about $4 million or $3.5 million? I think that can get you in the conversation for some of these guys. The top free agent contract last year outside of Dalvin was around the $6 million mark for guys like Miles Sanders. So that may be the rich top of the contract. Maybe they could get a little bit less from that perspective. So without further ado, Wudi, here are a bunch of the names that are available. I went first last week, so I'll give you the grand honor of going first this time. Who is your running back? And this is the guy, and we will have a poll after the show and continue the competition if you even want to call it that, although it's hard to call it a competition since I'm 1-0 and you haven't won one in your entire history of doing this show, so it's hard to call it a rivalry or a competition or anything. I mean, it'd be competition if you actually won one of these, so TBD, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things, but we're trying to pick a player that we believe the Jets can sign and add as a complement to Breece Hall in the backfield for 2024. So with that being said, who is the running back you'd like the Jets to sign? Who are you predicting?
Well, we might not agree on players. Well, that's actually the whole point, is that we don't agree on players, right?
Yeah, right.
Really hyped about, they're really hyped about that. But what you and I should definitely agree with, and what every single person watching or listening to this show should agree with, is the ultimate goal is for the New York Jets to win a Super Bowl. Can we agree on that, Boy Green?
Concur. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
I'm in.
Good. So if you look at the last, I want to say it's 15, but could literally be more than that. I know it's at least 15 winners of the Super Bowl. How much money has the starting running back of that team made? Right? We're talking.
I saw that graphic. A few years ago. Yeah.
Well, they did it last year too. They updated the graphic last year because Isaiah Pacheco was the starting running back.
Right. 7th round pick guy. Yep.
The 49ers can come and mess that whole thing up this year.
Definitely.
But if a team like, the Bills or the Ravens, win, then the same thing matters, right? Where the Jets already have, you broke down the contract beautifully. Like, they're not investing a lot of money in that position right now. And I don't think it would be wise to change that, which is why, I'll like you said, I'll buy the Henry jersey, but I would be cool with getting a bargain player and somebody who's on their second deal, somebody who's looking for their second deal in the league is not looking for a bargain. This is their deal. Like, this is the deal
Fair.
that secures their future for their family. They just did the rookie deal where they make peanuts. Breece Hall is one of the best running backs in football, and you just told us he makes a little over $1 million. The second contract, that is where they are trying to make their money. So somebody like J.K. Dobbins and some of the other names that we're seeing, that they're looking to get a bag. And that's not something we should be able to give. What we're looking for is somebody who can produce on a budget. So allow me to introduce somebody to you who has already led this league in rushing yards. Okay, somebody, he had 1,700 all-purpose yards his rookie season, 11 total TDs his rookie season, which was in 2018. That's not too long ago. And then he had 9 TDs just this past season, 9 touchdowns, same amount as Breece Hall. The only difference is this guy started week 1. He wasn't even on a team. They picked him up. He did not start. Okay. He started in 2 games all year and still ended up with 9 touchdowns. I am talking about none other than Kareem Hunt. He was on pace to be one of the best running backs. He was one of the best running backs in all of football. Okay. He had one of the best rookie seasons ever. And then a situation in 2018 got him kicked off that championship team. At that time, he had played in 11 games that season. When he got cut, he had 1,200 all-purpose yards in 11 games.
Nice.
Okay, then he gets picked up by the Browns, and he's doing what we're about to ask him to do. RB2 for one of the best running backs in football, Nick Chubb, and he's still showing his catching prowess. He is still a danger on the goal line, right? And now he's hungry. He wants a new, place, a change of scenery, right? I know, yes, He'll be 29. I know with running backs, we get all weird. We want a young, fresh running back, but Kareem Hunt is as fresh as they come. He is 29 this August, but he has literally started in 11 games the last 5 seasons. The boy's fresh, okay? He can catch with the best of them. We saw Breece's amazing highlight reel one-handed catch in the snow against the Patriots. That is something that we've seen Kareem Hunt do, and he played in Cleveland and Kansas City, these cold weather places. Okay, goal line, he is a stud. We're talking about 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 at the goal line. This is somebody who can finish. How many nights have we lost sleep looking at the Minnesota Vikings game where they had 4 chances to just get 1 yard and little Bam Knight couldn't do anything? So we had to try to throw it. Braxton Berrios was eating popcorn before the play. All of that type of stuff gets completely eradicated when you have Breece Hall and Kareem Hunt, 2 studs that can get that extra yardage. Kareem Hunt would solve all of the issues. Even if Breece were to go down, if he's hurt for a game, Kareem Hunt can come in and do everything, not at the same level, but he can do everything at an applicable level to still have this team humming, which we don't know about Izzy yet. And the best part about it is that you do not have to spend an arm and a leg to do it. This man is a bargain baller. He is the best possible option for a backup running back for the New York Jets this upcoming season.
You made a compelling case, Wudi, and I'll add even one more thing to your pile here for those who don't know. When Breece Hall was injured initially, of course, that was his rookie season, week 7 against the Denver Broncos, the Jets made a decision. The moment he was injured and they found out that he was going to be out for the year, Joe Douglas evaluated the entire league on the trade market to try to find a guy because it was the middle of the season. They didn't want to give up on the year. They wanted to, isn't that ironic? A couple of years later, they want to give up on the middle of the year after an injury that hurts the team. Maybe they could have done that at a different position, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that one of the names that I know that the New York Jets talk with 100% certainty, the Jets and Browns talked trade for Kareem Hunt during that season. And the price for Kareem Hunt in that year was a 4th-round pick. Joe Douglas said, okay, I'll call you back. Boop, puts the phone down, picks up the phone, calls up Jacksonville for James Robinson. They're like, a 6th? He's like, wow, 2-round savings? All right. That's enough of in his mind, it was, not inconsequential. Like there is obviously a difference because Kareem Hunt was worth more in value, apparently, according to the Browns price. He would have been a better player. But he said, for a 6th-round pick, I'd prefer that. And that's where he went. So the fact of the matter is, to just reiterate your point, Woody, which was compelling, it's an exciting case for Kareem Hunt from a value perspective. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. All that is copacetic. Plus, the fact that the Jets actually talk trade with the Browns in Breece Hall's rookie season for a trade. Nothing came of it. And to your point, Kareem Hunt was a free agent at the beginning of this year, and the Jets didn't touch him. So it's not 100% certainty, but the fact that they did talk trade and they considered it, I think that means a lot as they're in the evaluation process once again for an RB2. So you make a compelling case. It's hard to disagree. One part, though, I will disagree. It's not on the Kareem Hunt thing. It's something that you started with, is that normally running backs coming off their rookie deals can be quite expensive because they're looking to get paid. Breece Hall is a guy that was a non-first round pick, which means he had a 4-year standard, or has, because he's in the middle of it, but a 4-year standard contract, and then he reaches free agency. Another player I'm about to bring up was also a former 2nd-round pick. They could be 2nd-round pick buddies. They could do arts and crafts on the weekend, as far as I'm concerned, and he's a guy on the picture behind you. All you could see is his massive quads, and that is that of A.J. Dillon. Quadzilla is one of his nicknames. He's riding some sort of a weird bicycle. I thought it was a funny photo, so thought I'd include it. A.J. Dillon is the guy that I'm going to advocate for. Now, I'm going to say this right off the get-go. There is a group of our fans that are box score readers, right? They see Kareem Hunt. Wow, at one point he led the league in rushing. That is spectacular. Great, right? And then they look at A.J. Dillon. They're like, hey, boy, what's going on here? Here are the stats over his 4 years. 200 yards, 800 yards, 700 yards, 600 yards. He's never had a 1,000-yard season. You may say to yourself, what's going on over here? There's nothing really that pops off the page. I'm going to be highlighting 2 things. There he is, Roy, the New York Packers, baby. He understands the vibe we're going for. So another former Aaron Rodgers teammate. But there's 2 things here. Number one, okay, on old A.J. Dillon, I'm going back to my roots. So I'm doing the show live from New York. Live from New York. It's more green, so we have that going on. Okay. But in my outside of doing live streaming, I cover the Syracuse football team for my radio station. And someone who is in ACC country was A.J. Dillon, who played for Boston College. This is a uniquely constructed guy. I saw him run all over Syracuse a couple of years ago when he was back at BC. He is big. He weighed in Boston College. His weight kind of fluctuates now, but he weighed 250 pounds in college. I mean, he is a bruiser. He is just a downhill, thick ass running back. Pause. This guy has some tree trunks going on. He's Quadzilla. He's just a monster sized guy, and he was dominant in college. And he, again, was a second-round pick by the Packers. And again, when the Packers drafted him, people were like, that's kind of weird. Don't they already have Aaron Jones? So again, some of the thought process of what went behind it hasn't worked out. The stats haven't been great. But when you pair what I just said from his success in college, the former Aaron Rodgers teammate, the knowledge of the Hackett action from his history there, I say this. It's a optimistic or pessimistic look. To me, what I look at it with A.J. Dillon is he doesn't have a lot of tread on the tires. He's never had a season in his career where he's had 188 totes. That has never happened once in his NFL career to date. So while the statistics overall aren't overwhelming, right, from that perspective of 2,400 yards in 4 years and 16 touchdowns, the thing that excites me is there's a ton of tread on the tires, and because of his minimalistic statistical production, he won't cost you an arm and a leg when he gets to the free agent mark. That part to me is highly intriguing. Plus, I'm a stylistic guy. Like a stylistic fight, you get grapplers versus strikers versus this. I think his big ass body compared to Breece Hall, who Breece Hall is a big back too. He's 200 plus pounds, but he's not 250 pounds like A.J. Dillon. I think they complement each other really well. He's a scheme fit. He gives a different variety to the diet, similar to the way we're talking about with Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt weighs like one of A.J. Dillon's legs. Like, move over, young Padawan. A.J. Dillon's big ass comes through. He brings a different level of Brutus beefcake to the table. He's averaged 4.1 yards per carry in his career. He's never had a run of over 40 yards, but what he is a consistency guy, and that's what I'm looking for, whether it's a compliment to Breece or in some of the cases we've talked about before, potentially stepping in for Breece Hall. He's a guy that is just going to constantly kind of nickel and dime you. Razor blades and lemon juice. If I'm ever going to look to torture someone, razor blades and lemon juice. I want to be consistent. I want to kind of keep a nickel and dime people. Chop, 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 chop. So again, is A.J. Dillon going to break an 80-yard touchdown to the house? Is he going to break the 83-yarder in week 1 that Breece Hall had on his second carry of the game? Absolutely not. But what he is consistent. He's going to move the chains. He's also going to make it more manageable situations when he gets into the game, and just a guy that goes north and south. There's not a lot of playing around. There's not a lot of whoop, whoop, whoop. Not a lot of east-west action happening here with A.J. Dillon, but actually that's part of the game that I like. So I like the consistency. I like the fact that he's able to churn out yards. And here's the other thing, to the point, he turns 26 in May. He's young. He's coming off his rookie contract, and he's not going to cost a lot from that perspective either. So for all of those reasons, he checks off a lot of things off my bucket list. He's a guy that I'm honing in on. He is the guy I'm predicting the Jets will sign when free agency opens. Another former Aaron Rodgers teammate, perfect complement to Breece Hall, and allow Izzy his proper time to develop. And before you crush me, Wudi, and annihilate my analysis, I just want to say this because I saw a few of these comments and I want to follow up. 19 NY Jet 69, just draft the running back, leave Benny Kenda alone. Someone else said that too. I can't see who. Someone else had a draft thing, but it doesn't matter. The point is, folks, the Jets have 6 draft picks, 6 in this class. Running back, as we mentioned, isn't the highest of priority for the Jets. Get a Kareem Hunt, great. A.J. Dillon, great. And then all the names that I highlighted earlier, let's pull up that list for people. Here we go. Throw them up on the screen. Cordero Patterson, Gus Edwards, Zeke, any of these dudes. Grab any of them, and quite frankly, I'm fine. So they only have 6 picks. I'm not willing. I don't know where you stand, Woody. You can feel free to comment in on this. All these people that are saying, just draft it. It's going to be fine. They only have 6 picks. I don't want to, quote unquote, waste one of them on the draft. Again, outside of some crazy scenario, some unbelievable guy, Blake Corum or something, is at an unbelievable spot for the Jets and they can't pass up the value. Okay, maybe. But to me, I think the more prudent move is signing a guy for dirt cheap, filling the need and saving the draft picks for things you'll actually need. Offensive linemen, wide receivers, perhaps. Young, cheap control of players of need. I am not going to blow a pick on a running back because I don't think they need it. I think they can easily fill that in free agency, and I think that's where they go for dirt cheap. So before you analyze the Dillon thing, what do you make of the people in the chat that are advocating for just simply another draft pick in the room?
Well, I hate to agree with Boy Green, but I'm gonna have to say, I mean, yeah, definitely get the vet. Hey, I have a lot of issues with this current regime, but one thing they've shown an ability to do is mold young talent, right? And when I say they, I only mean Salah and Ulbrich, like that side of the ball, like molding young talent, late draft picks, right? Michael Carter II, 4th-round pick, that is now arguably the best nickel corner in the league, and I don't know
5th-round pick, actually.
Against.
Yeah.
I don't know who's arguing against. So like that, Jamie and Sherwood had a pretty decent season starting at linebacker. Another late round pick converted, right, from safety to linebacker.
Safety.
What they are able to do with raw talent on that end of the field is unbelievable. So, safety will be in it. Tony Adams, right, is one of them. But if Jordan Whitehead is gone, right, if there are a couple of D linemen that leave, and we're gonna go through all the positions, so we'll look at it down the road. But that's where those later picks, we've already seen a rich track record of the Jets coaching staff being able to turn that that water into wine. To tell me draft a running back, we just did that. But Israel Abanikanda, like that's what just happened. And we haven't seen enough from him to say, oh, like, let's roll. Like, if Breece Hall gets hurt, which I don't, we don't like saying stuff like that.
Of course.
But that's what we need to prepare for. That's what they didn't prepare for. And that's why we just had the season that the Jets just had. So if Breece Hall gets hurt, can you rely on Israel Abanikanda, 3rd down, like a 3-down back? I don't think you can, and I do feel confident that you can count on Kareem Hunt. Boyd Green, he's biased, so he only put up the comments that supported his player, but he didn't put up any of the, my boy Rob Delgado fighting on Twitter, talking about how great of an idea Kareem Hunt is. He's saying, preach, I hear you. Amen, my brother. AJ Dillon, I mean, Boy Green said, razor blades, lemon juice, that's a great way to torture somebody. I think another pretty good way to torture somebody is to grab somebody from the Green Bay Packers and try to tell me that they have some unlimited, untapped potential, because that's, what happened with Nathaniel Hackett. We, untapped. Alan Lazard, untapped. No. Alan Lazard, uncatched. You're right. It's not about not tapping. He cannot catch. Randall Cobb. All right. Don't tell me, he only has poor stats, but in this completely different situation, hopefully magically we can. No, do not tell me that. Aaron Jones was hurt for most of this year. They gave AJ Dillon the full 3-down bell cow role, and he blew it. He's a big man that can't move. I mean, those tree trunks.
He didn't have Hackett. Remember that. He didn't have Hackett. So
he couldn't hack it. They both of them are not good. Those tree trunks were rooted firmly in place, and he looked terrible. Please do not sell me another low floor option. We are the New York Jets, haven't made the playoffs in 13 years. We need fail-safe options. Kareem Hunt at his worst is better than AJ Dillon has ever been in the NFL. That is a fact. So please, on the road to not to the playoffs, the goal is the Super Bowl. It is this window now or bust. We need proven commodities, somebody who's played at a high level before. Kareem Hunt is that man. Please do not make us take this tree trunk child who cannot do anything and has all this untapped potential that he will never realize, just like all of the other former Packers before him. Please save us from that scenario.
Yeah, I'm hoping AJ Dillon is another Eddie Lacy. I wonder where he's at. That's a guy
I
I'm
think
intrigued with.
I actually saw him at Chick-fil-A not too long ago.
That ain't right. That ain't right. All right, let's finish off with just two comments from fans, and they're from the same guy, but they're interesting. Hawk on our YouTube channel says, "Take that same argument applied to backup quarterback, not worth wasting a draft pick." Again, here's what I would say. Wudi highlighted a little bit. We just drafted Breece Hall. We're already halfway through his rookie contract, which is unbelievable. After this upcoming season, he'll be eligible for a contract extension. So there's a lot to be figured out there. But I would just say the upside for a running back you draft in the mid rounds versus a quarterback you draft are massive. So I am of the Ron Wolf mindset of you take a quarterback every year and then maybe you just get lucky. The Texans, I get it's a second overall pick versus a late round pick, but Dak Prescott was a fourth round pick. You could go through the history. Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent. I'm picking Cowboys for some reason, but there's other teams and places. Yeah, sure, Purdy. Yeah, right, exactly. But just take it and see. So again, I push back against this Hawk pretty aggressively that I think it's always worth it taking quarterbacks. Plus, I think there is such a crazy benefit. The Jets don't normally have this situation where a Hall of Famer's at quarterback. Plus, I believe they're going to go QB2 as we discussed earlier. It'll be Brissett, not the crappy Sam Darnold option Woody gave. And the fact of the matter is that person can be QB3 and learn behind two professionals. I think that's invaluable. And the other one I wanted to put up there, again, I didn't include this on the list, but to Wudi pushing back a little bit and even Hawk here, if I'm JD, this is Hawk speaking, I'm making a substantial offer to Derrick Henry to take a step back in touches to be a third down back in insurance policy to Breece. That's one of those moves that could save a season. Of course, because if Breece were to go down and you have to turn to King me Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs of this generation, that would certainly be worth it. So we will see. Derrick, I heard him do an interview with Bussin' with the Boys or whatever that show's called, and he said that I'm not going to play for free, basically. He said the most important thing is being on a team that he believes can win a Super Bowl, but he said he's not playing for free either. So it has to be a reasonable amount in his mind, which goes to Woody's initial point that, what's reasonable. I guess that's different to the person. Derrick Henry's led the league in rushing, has done all these wonderful things. We will see, although that would be, again, I'd get that Derrick Henry jersey yesterday if he were indeed to come. But we'll wrap up on this, Woody, with that. It sounds like you feel pretty confident you're getting your first win on the board with this poll that's about to go up after the show. It sounds like you think you're getting your first victory. All things considered.
Hey, my name is not Dwayne Johnson. I'm not the people's champ. I have no idea what these people are thinking. They might love. Hey, there were people this time last year that were calling me insane for questioning the running back room. So the wide receiver room. And it wasn't this time last year. It was later in the year. It was like July, where I was saying, Garrett, Lazard, Mecole Hardman, what kind of
Corey
room is
Davis?
This? People, yes, Corey Davis. People were trying to tell me that was a top 10 receiving room in the league. That's what people were trying to tell me. So I cannot predict what the people might say. Oh, yeah, let's keep the Packers. Ooh, familiarity with Rodgers. Ooh, maybe that'll help Hackett. All that nonsense. People eat that stuff up. People actually thought that Mecole Hardman was going to have 1,000 yards as a Jet. People they eat disgusting things. So they might eat that up. But I know for the rational thinkers, I didn't say that we are a lot of people, but we are few. We are proud. The Woodyologists that rationally think. They rationally use logic to think this out. And those, like my boy Rob Delgado, I know we're going to have at least 2 votes on there because of myself and Rob, we're going to be out there because Kareem Hunt is truly the best choice. There are a couple options on there that I actually wouldn't be happy with. And
wouldn't be. Okay, well, I guess we'll see. So we will put it up again shortly after the show. If you're watching live, then you could go right on over to Twitter at BoyGreen25 to make your vote. We'll be putting it up here in moments. Or if you're watching after the fact, that's also fine. You can hop over to Twitter. That poll will be up for 24 hours, and we will reveal on the next show, which is Tuesday, as we dive into another position. We'll let you know what that position will be, plus a Thursday edition, and we'll keep this train rolling. So right now, Boy Green is 1-0, and we will see if Woody ties it up to make it somewhat interesting for the fans, which will be my complaint answer if that's what happens. And if not, then it's just going to be a bloodbath. So looking forward to it. Woody, Phenomenal as always, brother. Again, the James Wudi. People can hit up on Instagram. That's where the show is streaming live in one of the places. We love you, brother. This has been a fun show. This is our first week in the books, and many more to come in terms of these positional breakdowns. I'm really excited for the series.
Absolutely, it is a pleasure jousting with you, with all these different opinions, and of course, the opinions of people in the comments. Please keep asking the questions because your boys got the answers. Boy Green meets Wudi. I cannot wait to talk about wide receivers.
Yeah, I feel like that's where we got to go. We haven't really talked about it, but I think wide receivers is a sexy one, the one that everyone's talking about. So we could start that on Tuesday, and then what for Thursday? I mean, like, is tight end? Is that where you go? Do we just kind of bunch a bunch of pass catchers together next week? Is that where we got to go?
Seems like it's pass catching week. Pass catching week. Pass catching week. Hey.
Both positions, I think, will be heavily addressed. We will do see in due time. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you show your support. Again, like, follow, hit subscribe, and all that jazz wherever you happen to be watching. And we'll see you next week, Tuesday, for Boy Green meets Wudi. And then tomorrow, we have Italy Jet on Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning at 7:30 if you guys prefer that show as well. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. God bless.